Focus. Focus up. I'm talking to you, Fontana, out in New York. Your Go Primal brand is blowing up, and I am so damn proud of you. Make sure everyone checks it out at Go Primal USA. And of course, enter the code Rubio10. Welcome to the Rubio Method. This is episode 30. My name is Chris Rubio, along with Sir Nicholas Monaghan. We have a great show for you tonight. Number one, you guys have been doing a fantastic job sharing on YouTube, Amazon, Google, Spotify, and of course the NGBN.TV network. What's on tap? I was going to say in store, but we're going to go what's on tap, Monaghan, for today. Improving your mental health, our driving habits, our wives' pet peeves on us, exceptions on a plane, being overrated, motivational speakers and books, a 0.9 GPA, good God, handshakes, opening up to yourself, and Kobe. All of that and much more on today's episode of the Rubio Method. Christian, I'm out. Focus up. I'm talking to you, Ian Hill, the head of NGBN.TV, the man that started it all. Keep up the great work and keep shooting for your goals, my man. Monaghan, it's time. Minute with Monaghan, go.
All right, you guys. As always, like I always say, we've got an amazing one for you. It's something that I absolutely love and absolutely enjoy, and it is 5 tips to help your mental health. Number 1 is find ways to relax. Find whatever it is, insert it into your day, but find a way to relax. Especially with us guys, we're grind. We're going to grind our way through it. Guys, you're going to grind your way into an early death, right? So just find ways to relax. You're not weak for doing it. Number 2, that kind of goes with it, but take a break. Take a break, whether it's find time during your day to take a break. This is actually something I've been implementing, and it's been incredible. My wife and I will take a walk around the block, or, even taking breaks, take some time off. Whatever it is, take a break. Again, grinding yourself to death is only going to grind yourself to death, right? And then the other thing is number 3 is do something you enjoy, right? Do something you love. If you love going to baseball games, find a time to go to a baseball game. Whatever it is that you enjoy, prioritize that, right? And number 4 is do something creative. For me, I like to journal. That's kind of my outlet. So do something creative that's going to help you out. And last, this one is kind of crazy, but I just absolutely love it. And it's going to sound silly, but dude, spend time with animals. It was nuts when I saw it, but if you think about it, spending time with your dog, or spending time with, this weekend we were at a petting zoo with my son, and it just felt so awesome just to be around these animals. You felt like a kid again. So I would say that number 5, it's super helpful. Dog, I'm not a cat person, but any type of animals, find time, spend time with them. And for whatever reason, it changes everything.
Monaghan, I have to know, because you said your new thing is journaling, and about once a week you give me a nice love text, and about once a week you give me a death text. So I need to know how many times I'm in your journal with blood red ink where you're saying I hate Rubio, and then later you come back with a lavender nice soft pen of Rubio's the best.
Dude, I actually been thinking about that. I don't know why that cadence is, but I'll see something online and be like, "Oh, I'm gonna get him with this." And then 2 seconds later, I'll be like, "Dude, I just listened to your other show and I really liked it." I'm so glad you said something, because I was laughing at myself doing that the other day.
Okay, so I am correct where you throw out your death threats to me, because about once every week I get one where it's just Monahan's just trying to jab me with a Tucker Carlson thing, or, "Oh, what do you think about this, Rubio?" And then I wait, I give Monaghan a little bit hour because I know he's raging, and then I'll come back with, "Well, Monaghan, here's what I think," and then he softens up. So as long as I'm in the journal, Monaghan.
I always say, yeah, I can see why you'd say that.
All right, Monaghan, you've got 3 email questions sent into Rubio@therubiomethod.com. What's the number 1?
Yes, these are great. I'm telling you, these are getting better with every show, and today is no exception. We've got Lydia in Nashville, Tennessee. I love this question. It says, what type of drivers are you guys? Are you more of a road rage or grandma type behind the wheel? Guys, I'm as road rage as it gets. I get so annoyed with people. Okay, but I have to say with one caveat. My wife and I just moved to Minnesota, and everyone out here is so much nicer, so much kinder. Whereas when I lived in Colorado, drivers are straight jerks out there, man. They're so rude and so mean. It made me angry. So I'm like learning to curtail that living out here in Minnesota. What about you, Rubio?
Okay, number one, that surprises me because of the two, you're definitely the nicer one, but then you have more road rage, and I'm more the ruder one, but I'm much more of a grandma when I'm driving. I drive slow. I'm safe and sane, not dumb and dangerous. My wife yells at me all the time because I just go, and she's like, "Well, we need to hurry." I go, "No, we don't need to hurry because I'm on time. You're late." Okay, and so I'm the 2 miles per hour over cruise control, and I've said it many times before. I used to live in Los Angeles. It's harder for me to drive in Idaho than it is in LA because in Idaho, there's less happening. And in LA, you have to pay attention because it's like a video game and you have to be super aggressive. So I'm much more of a calm driver. I never use my horn. I never give anyone the bird. So that's it. Number two, Monaghan.
That's great. I love that. Actually, Rubio, we've ridden together.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
West side of Chicago. Shout out.
We'll bring up that story later.
Next up, we've got Matt in San Jose. You both seem like nice guys, but what do your wives have to say about you? Meaning, what pet peeves do your wives have against you? Rubio, go for it.
Well, we've only got 3 minutes left in this segment per Christian. So, I mean, this could go for 4 hours. My number one pet peeve my wife has against me, she says I chew gum like a cow, which I don't know what that means, but she says, you look ugly chewing gum. And she says that I have like woofers in my mouth, like I produce too much saliva or something. She says she can hear me chewing when my mouth is closed, which is very odd to me. But okay, got to do what you got to do. And the next thing, I'm only going to give you two. She just told me this, and I've started to realize that she is true. She says, Rubio, she literally calls me Rubio. Do you know that you don't sit down? And I go, I'm literally sitting here. She goes, no, you fall into place. And I go, well, I don't know if that's good. She goes, well, you got to fix it because you're going to break the damn chair pretty soon. So those are my two pet peeves I think that I have. She says I chew gum like a horse or a cow or horse. I don't know if they chew the same. And I fall into places. Monaghan, you?
Yeah, those are both good ones. I'd say my wife, she says, "Oh, I'm a big like contact. Like I love like laying next to her. I love cuddling up next to her. And sometimes she's about had it with our son all day long. She doesn't want anybody touching her or being around her. But I always have to be the one laying down, and she's always the one sitting. She gets so mad every single time. It's like, you just get to relax all day long, and I have to sit here like this. And I'm like, sis, this is what we're doing, right? Also, the other thing that she says probably pet peeves is with my beard. I actually just did this today. I'm the worst at cleaning up after trimming my beard, and she gets so upset with me. So just like little tiny things like that, she gets pissed.
Monaghan, next time we're in a hotel, we might have to do 2 spoons in a drawer because I'm a cuddler as well. What's the third question?
yes, let's go. Next question is Larry out in Corpus Christi, Texas says, I know you guys have stated that you do not like to talk to people on the plane, but have you ever made an exception? Yes, I saw this. I saw this question. I got so excited because I've only made one exception in my life. I do not like to talk. Hey, headphones in, hood up, watching a movie or reading a book or something. Hey, don't talk to me while I'm in this cylinder flying through the sky, except for one person. I sat next to the tight end for the LA, or back then it was the St. Louis Rams. I think his last name was Hendricks. He played at Wisconsin. I could be wrong about his last name, but he played at Wisconsin, played at with the Rams. And buddy, I talked the ears off the statue. I just wanted to talk to this guy. He was so cool. I knew he was an NFL player, and he was so kind because I knew he did not want to talk to me, but he was being really nice and talking to me. And then eventually it was just like, okay, that's it. But that was my one exception. What about you, Rubio?
I'm flying back from Salt Lake City or from Dallas, Texas to Salt Lake City. I get to my little terminal and I notice this very, very, very large human being sitting down. And this person was sitting and I could see their shoulders / neck above everyone else. And so I'm getting close and I go, okay, I think I know who that is, but let me Google it because this guy's a little bit older than the last time I saw him. And sure as hell, it was Sean Bradley. Christian, do not pull up the picture yet. And so all of a sudden I'm looking, I'm like, okay, this is Sean Bradley. I get bumped up because Delta loves me because I fly a lot. And it was one of the smaller planes where it's like 1 first class aisle, 2 first class. I got put in the very 1A seat. So my feet go all the way to the pilot. We're talking like literally 11 feet if you wanted. Sean Bradley, for those that don't know, I'm going to show you pictures. So don't worry. Not yet, Christian. He sits right next to me. He's in 1B. He's in the other side of the aisle. But this dude is legit like 7'7", 7'8". And he sits down and he is so big that he has to bend like this because the baggage claim is above him, like where you put your little bags and book bags and all that. And he's like this. And I look at him and I you know, my strict policy, if I don't want to speak to you, don't speak to me. I look at him, I say, hey, Sean, you want to switch seats so you have more leg room? And he says to me, are you sure? And I go, yeah, man, I think you're going to need it more than I am. My inseam's like a 32. Yours is like an 814. And he says, are you sure you want to switch? Are you sure? And I go, yeah, man, I'm cramping up just looking at you. So we switch seats. He's overly apologetic. Like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm like, dude, it's okay. So finally I'm doing videos or something on the plane and I see him looking over. We start to land and he goes, I gotta ask, what are you doing? What are you doing? Because he's just looking at a whole bunch of long snappers, butts and balls going like this, butt ball. And I tell him I'm a private football coach for long snapping. I go, do you know what long snapping is? No. So I got to explain it to this guy. So I explained it to him and then he's really into it. I said, hey, when we get off the plane, is there any way that I can get a photo with you? He goes, absolutely. So I go, okay, let's take a photo. After we take the photo, he says, make sure it's okay. Now, Monaghan, I am not a small human being. I'm at, on a good day, 6'3", on a bad day, 6'2". We're rolling right around 240, 250, right around there. Okay, 6'2", 240, 250. We got it? You got that visual in your head? Christian, let it rain.
Holy cow. Oh, my God.
That is a real photo, man. And he was the nicest guy ever. We're going to end on that. He was an absolute legend. Shout out to Sean Bradley. I think he's actually since then hurt his back on a bike accident. So I hope he's doing okay. Christian, we're coming back with segment 3, which is a great interview with one of my top people that I know. And I really don't know, but I do know. I'll explain that more as we get going. Get ready for Chad Ricardo. Christian, I'm out.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies. Selfie, nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's put a ride home.
Focus up. I'm talking to you, Chalice. You are crushing it at the NGBN.TV market. Make sure everyone's checking out the Bare Essentials podcast. Keep up the great work, Charles Wallace, or as I call you, Chalice, because it just kind of runs together. Welcome back to the Rubio Method. You guys are doing a great job of sharing on Amazon, Google, Spotify, Apple, YouTube, and of course the NGBN.TV network. If you have any questions, remember you can always email myself or Chad Rubio at therubiomethod.com. Chad Ricardo, my main man. I am so pumped. I was just telling you earlier, you're the kind of guy that we've met a couple times, but I feel like I know you really, really, really well. Can you explain that?
No, listen. Now, Rubio, I feel the same way about you. I guess that in reality, you're right. We've at the absolute most, we've been around each other for about an hour at a time, maybe three times, maybe even 2. But I feel the same way, man. I have always felt a closeness to you. I think we're kindred spirits.
Yes. And I think that's partially because you and I are kind of so eccentric on social media where we kind of just live our lives and we're there.
Well, and beyond that, bro, I think that we're like kindred spirits. I know that you have questions that you want to get to and everything else. I'm used to being on the other side of the table here. And one of the things, Rubio, that I've always appreciated you from the first time that I met you, everybody in our industries has an ego to some extent, but not everybody in our industry likes when other people around them have egos. But you, sir, are a man who is comfortable with other people. And I don't feel as though anyone takes any light away from you. So you're always willing to give light back to others. And I've always appreciated that about you.
Well, I appreciate that. And it's one of those, I like to level up.
Yeah,
so
man.
if it's one of those things they'll say is if I'm the smartest one in the room, I'm in the wrong room.
Well, there we go. Yes, sir.
And I can always learn something. And this is exactly, I knew what this was going to happen, Chad. You and I are talkers. I haven't even got to your damn bio yet. Okay, who is Chad Ricardo?
All right.
He is a multimedia journalist. He's a big student athlete advocate. He's a sports contributor on Fox 5 DC. He's a husband to Ashley and father to Kobe. Welcome. Right. I should have said that 30 minutes ago, but you and I both talkers we got going, Daddy. All right. I got 3 quick questions for you. Number 1, is OBJ overrated?
I think that the current Odell Beckham Jr. might be overrated. I don't believe that the myth of Odell Beckham Jr. is overrated. I'm a Giants fan, so I have seen what he can be. It'll be interesting to see with coming off of 2 ACLs of what he is today. That'll be very interesting to see.
Yeah, as a sports fan, you always get nervous when, I don't want to jinx it, but when an athlete becomes almost like a China doll. It's like,
sure.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Well, before the knee injuries, I think that he had an ankle in New York as well, and starting his career, he had a hamstring. So it has the injuries have been the thing that has slowed him down. But if that is his ultimate demise, he won't be the first athlete to meet that one.
Yeah, no kidding on that. You listen to a lot of motivational speakers. Which one would you want to go on vacation with and why?
Woo, on vacation with. Goodness, to be honest with you, Rubio, I may work in the public, but I don't really enjoy being around people on my private time. So I don't know. I want to go on vacation with any of them, but if I had to choose, it would probably be Steve Harvey.
Okay, I got that. I like it.
Steve Harvey.
Last one, you're an avid book reader. You get 1 book for the rest of your life. What is it?
Ooh, that's a tough one. No, it's not. The Alchemist. The Alchemist is the single greatest book that I've ever read. And I know some people are like, really? The Alchemist is like 180 pages. But look up The Alchemist if you haven't read it already. It is truly a fiction book about journeys in life and about being able to turn everything that we go through into positive things along our journey. So The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, that's the best book of all time.
I love it. When I'm doing an interview, I like to have a pattern. I like to have a flow. I like to do some spying on their social media. I go deep into your social media. I'm going down wormholes, and I realize, holy Jesus, this flow is not going to happen at all because you are all over the place like myself. And I'm going to try to hit as many I can.
Gotcha.
Number 1, your son's name is Kobe. I have to assume he was named after the legend. How are you going to make sure your son knows exactly who he was named after and what he was all about?
Yeah, 100. I mean, that's something that's important to me. If you can look here behind me, that is a picture of Kobe Bryant that is right here in my office. Kobe was indeed named after Kobe Bryant. I produced a video before my Kobe was born, which was right when Kobe Bryant died. And in the video, I wanted to make clear that my son will be able to watch that he was named after Kobe Bryant, the man, not Kobe Bryant, the basketball player. What do I mean by that? Obviously, Kobe Bryant wasn't perfect. None of us are. But when you look at Kobe, what I've always loved about him is that Mamba mentality. It is that work ethic. It's that drive. It's that determination. It is that unwillingness to be stopped or sidetracked from what it is that his goals are. That is why it is that I fell in love with Kobe Bryant personally. That's why my son is named Kobe, and I produced that video so that he knows he'll always be able to look back and watch that and hear me narrate those reasons himself.
I love that. And you've got maybe, in my mind, probably 5 athletes in the history of sports that have had his strength of mind and mentality. You got him, you've got Jordan, maybe Tom Brady. But and Kobe is one of those people. I'm older than you, but and I never saw like the landing on the moon or things like that. I remember the minute I saw that Kobe had passed,
Yeah.
And it was very, I remember because it made me sick to my stomach.
Yeah, man.
And I almost got emotional. I'm getting emotional thinking about it right now.
Yeah.
And it was the only other time in my life. There's two other times. 9/11. I
Yes.
remember that very specifically. And then I remember when Magic Johnson came out that he had AIDS.
Yeah,
I
man.
was in high school and I was like, oh my God. And it was just, so that went from happy to sad. That was a bad one.
No. Look, bro, but again, like that's life, right? And I think that's the quality of when a man such as yourself creates a platform like this one where we can come on here and talk about things like this, because men need to have conversations like this.
Yeah, and like you said, it's okay. Kobe, it's okay that Kobe wasn't perfect. No one is. And
Yeah.
it's okay to talk about him passing and going, holy Jesus, that sucked.
Bro. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
really sucked.
Yeah. No, it was a huge damper on my day. Again, like you said, it's one of those things where you'll never forget where you were. I was actually about to go speak at a high school. A good council here in the DMV area had won the WCAC. They were having a banquet. I was so blessed, so fortunate that they were bringing me in to be the keynote speaker. And an hour before, I'm going through my notes, Rubio, and an hour before I get this news on Sunday, I couldn't believe it. I didn't want to believe that it was real. I thought it was a hoax until they said that it was a helicopter. And anybody who knows Kobe knows that helicopters were kind of his thing. And so, then you know it was real.
Chad, you're obviously very, very into sports and advocating for youth sports. And my question is, do you think that you could do anything more? I don't think you can do anything more, but I want to know, what can the common fan, the common parent, the common teacher, the common coach do more?
Sure. You know what? I think that I always can do more. I believe that, every day I wake up with a goal of, I'm reading Tony Dungy's book right now, and it's called Uncommon. And the idea is just striving to be, again, the best version of ourselves and not settling for the norm, but being uncommon. Working with student athletes, working with young men, and now Rubio, I'm in my 40s now, so now professional athletes are young men to me as well. So just being able to be a mentor to more student athletes and to be able to speak to them and to tell them of my circumstances. My favorite hip hop artist is Jay-Z, and he had a line that said, it took me 30 years to find my path. My only job is to cut that time in half. He's talking about his own son in that. But for me, that's for all student athletes, anybody that I come in contact with.
So you're going around, you're speaking, you're advocating. What more can the average human being do? Say someone who's living in town, but they're not a coach. Maybe they're not even a parent. How can they advocate for youth sports? Because youth sports to me are very, very important. You get involved in those, you're going to go down a right path 95% of the time.
Look, I'm going to tell you this, man. I'm going to speak directly to the parents. I'm going to speak directly to the coaches and to the trainers and everything else, Rubio. We understand that obviously athletics is in many ways a business, especially nowadays that NIL is something. So you're not only looking to earn a college scholarship, you're looking to also make some money once you get there. But as true as that is, we have to get back to realizing and remembering that there is a young man under those pads. There's a young man, there's a young lady that's in that jersey right there. And we have to do all that we can to be sure that we are tending to all of their emotional needs and making sure that they're doing well in the classroom as well. Instead of just focusing on them as an athlete, we've got to focus on the total person of all of these young men and young ladies that we're working with.
Love that. Love that. Someone worked with you when you were younger. I think I read that in 10th grade, you had a 0.9 GPA.
That's right. Yes.
What flipped you around?
Yeah. Honestly, what flipped me around, Rubio, it was never for me. It was never about not being able to do the work or not being able to be successful in school. It just wasn't important to me. It wasn't something that I valued. I valued talking. I valued having a good time. So what flipped the switch for me, I'll never forget it. I was in biology class one day that I had an F in. I had already failed the first semester in biology. And just joking around with my classmates, I said that I was going to make an A on the next test. I'll never forget this. And my closest friends in that class, when I said I was going to make an A on the test, they laughed at me. Like they laughed out loud. And so what I understood in that moment, I was like, bro, like they think that I'm dumb. Like they think that I can't do this. And it was in that moment that the competitor in me came out and was like, all right, well, I got to show them that this was never about what I couldn't do. This was just about what I wasn't doing. And so kind of hitting that switch and turning that around, bro, I think that that's something that that ever since then I've used in the rest of my life as well.
I love that. It's a little bit of tough love slash, oh, I'm very similar. Like, oh, you don't think I can do it?
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna double it up.
I'm gonna double it up. Like that's the realization, man. I think that so often many of us who are high achievers, who think highly of ourselves, and I don't mean that in any way of conceit, but just in terms of what it is that we accomplish, that we can or can't accomplish. Sometimes we need to understand the truth. Sometimes we need to know. We get patted on the back so often, bro. Like I'm the youngest son. I got 3 older sisters. My issue when I was young is that I was always told how great I was by my family, and I wasn't corrected often enough. So I thought that what I was doing was good enough. So it was good to hear from somebody else that, you know what, you need to work harder.
I would have thought your issue was you were never allowed to pee inside you with 3 sisters.
Wasn't that? That's not what it was.
All right. One of the best things about you on social media is that you will throw out a tweet bomb.
Yeah.
And I will watch it and I'll go, oh, Chad did it now. And I will watch it just flame and flame and flame. You had one that I watched for a while. It was a pretty controversial take on handshake lines after sporting events.
That's right.
Your take was it should be voluntary. You shouldn't have to do it, correct?
Well, look, my take is that it should not be mandatory. So, so that is the same thing, but I think that those 2 words matter in this regard. I don't think that it should be mandatory.
Okay, so but you have a son now, because I was thinking about this, because I was thinking, okay, I understand what he's saying.
Yep.
Because I have 3 boys. Yep. But I'm starting to think, okay, what if Kobe's playing? Yep. And Kobe is he's fired up. I mean, he's ready to roll. He's been playing a heated sport, and he doesn't like this one kid. He doesn't like Rubio that he's been playing against. Yeah. And all of a sudden, at the end of the game, you got to take your battle gear off. And he's like, no, Dad, I don't want to go shake the guy's hand. I was just a warrior with him for 3 hours. Do you still believe in, no, you're fine, cool off, we don't have to go shake his hand? Or are you going to grab Kobe by the back of the neck and say, dude, we got to learn, battle's over, you got to.
Sure. Kobe,
this is your Kobe. This is your Kobe.
This is my Kobe.
Yeah.
Kobe has me as a father. Okay. Kobe has me as a father. Kobe has his wonderful mother as a mother. And every day from the day that he was born, we instill values and we instill different things in him that are going to teach him. My wife teaches him how to deal with his emotions. He's 3 years old now. My wife teaches him how to deal with his emotions. I'm going to teach him how to be a leader. I'm going to teach him how to deal with those emotions in the heat of the battle. Kobe is blessed with that background. Not everybody out there has that same thing. You see what I'm saying? Not everybody has Chris Rubio as a father the way that your 3 boys do as well. And so my main point is that we got to have grace. Right? We got to have grace, because the point that I made that people wanted to say was, well, that's not teaching kids how to be adults. And my kickback to that is that as adults, Rubio, if me and you, which we never would because we love each other, but if we ever had a disagreement, especially out there on the football field, I don't like the way that you did that, you don't like the way that I did that, we might have a couple of words right there out there on the field in front of the kids. But after that, we're going to take a step away from each other and say, you know what? We'll come back to this once we've been able to have cooler heads to prevail, so that we don't make a mockery out of what it is that we're doing in front of these kids. And what I'm saying is that in these cases in which maybe a student athlete or an athlete does not yet have all of the tools in their toolbox to be able to handle that in that moment, that maybe that athlete deserves that same grace that we as adults give to ourselves when we don't have what it takes to resolve that conflict in the moment.
And what I read on that, when you just said, is that a lot of that comes back to, and I say this all the time, comes back to parenting, where you're raised right. And so your kid understands, don't put your head into the oven, because from day 2 of life, you've been telling them, you go near this stove or the oven, it's hot.
It's hot.
So you don't have to worry about, you don't ever have to tell them, hey, Kobe, don't jump in the oven, because that's never going to happen.
Correct. I personally, I think that every game that I ever played, and Rubio, I didn't play very well, but every game that I ever played, I shook everybody's hand because no matter how hard or how intense the battle was, I believe, like that was one of the things people, oh, Chad doesn't believe it. Of course Chad does. Chad, as you mentioned previously, I have given so much of my life to kids and to character when it comes to young people and instilling the right values. So I certainly believe in handshakes. What I'm saying, though, is that there are times in which we as adults should give grace to young people, the same kind of grace that we hope is given to us.
I like the answer. I thought for sure I wasn't going to like it, but you turned me around. You opened my eyes up. And since this show is mainly about men's mental health, about a year ago, I remember you had one of your social media things where it went off, and I was kind of watching. I was like, this guy's got some balls, because you had a situation where you kind of opened up about your state of mental health. And it was, I think it was during the Rona, and everyone was kind of just floating around. And I remember thinking, dude, this guy, if more dudes could do this,
yes,
society'd be a lot better. Can you talk about that real quick?
Sure. Just kind of to begin with the ending there, I agree with you in that more men, I think that it's incumbent upon us to have these conversations, and that's the power of social media, is that we can share them with the masses. You asked me what it is that I can do to continue to give back to the kids, and I think that it's that. There's a young man that's watching this right now who needs to know that there are men whom they may consider successful that have been through some things and who have felt the way that they may have been feeling last week or next week or later on, because that is what gives them the strength to say, I'm not alone here and I can keep moving forward. But to speak directly to what it is that you're saying, yes, during the pandemic, and I'll be as quick to this as possible, Rubio, I'm currently a sports contributor with Fox 5. It is a dream job. It is a goal that I've been working towards for the last 20 years. Well, in 2019, 2020, I had been flying high. I had been working towards achieving these goals for 15, 16, 17 years. And I felt as though I was right at the precipice of getting to that point. Well, the virus came in, and with that of course shut down all gatherings. So I'm sure that you weren't out on many fields. Here in the DMV, no fields were open whatsoever. Everything was shut down. The job that I had at that point, I was working with NBC. The job that I had, they laid off everybody. All of the money that I was making was shut down as well. And this is on top of having a son 1 month prior to that. My son that I've wanted, that I have dreamt about my entire life. So in the midst of what was just 2 months before the happiest time of my life, it was all of a sudden a shadow. And at that point in time, I felt as though I lost everything. Like I lost it all. I know that I'm being long here, and I'm sorry, but
you're fine. Go, man. Go.
I want to give this analogy because it was real for me. It was every day. So my wife is a nurse. She's a wonderful woman. She's a nurse, and I pride myself on, not in an archaic way, but I pride myself on being a provider. I pride myself on being a protector. So here we are in the worst point of life for many people, and my wife is not only going to work, but she's out there on the front line fighting. And her husband is at home, not working. Like for the man in me, for the pride in me, for the ego in me, like that was one of the hardest things to do daily, was to see her go to work and for me to be at home, not helping, not contributing. And so it was the analogy that I felt and I lived daily was, if you could imagine, I felt like there was my life. Everything in my life was this tiny sailboat, and it was in the bathtub, and the plug had been pulled on the bathtub, and I was watching the water slowly drain out of the tub, and my ship was floating to what would be sunk down the drain. And that lasted for 2 years, bro. If I did not have my son, I don't know where I would have been. He was the light of my world in the darkest times.
Yeah, and that's something that you're going to need to tell him at some point, that, hey man, you know, as much as I've raised you, you literally raised me.
he saved me. He
Yeah.
saved my Kobe saved me during those days. Again, you're a hardworking man. I know that you travel a lot. Again, up until that point, it's how we met each other on the road.
Yeah.
Up until that point, I traveled a lot as well. And so it was kind of like in that I planned on being a totally different dad. I planned on, being gone all the time and my wife taking care of home, and I'll be back in when I'm back in. But during that time, I spent every day, Rubio, every day, 24 hours a day with my son. And so it made me into a different man.
Mhm.
It made me into more of a father than I ever believed that I would have been. It made me into a better husband than I ever imagined that I would have been. So through the darkness came true growth on my behalf and light.
Yeah, and you were going to become man Chad Ricardo level 10. Now I'm assuming you're Chad Ricardo level 20.
I don't know about that, but if you say it, Rubio, I might
I'll
take it
say
and
it.
run with it.
Chad, I knew this would be good. Okay. I'll be a little cocky about it, egotistical. I knew it would be good. You pushed it over the edge, my man. I can't thank you enough for coming on. Where can people find out more information on you? Where can they connect with you?
Absolutely. You can find me on all social media platforms at Real Chad Ricardo. On LinkedIn for our business people, that is Chad Ricardo. Also on Facebook as well, if anybody's still on Facebook, Chad Ricardo. And then you can catch me a couple of days of the week on Fox 5 in the DMV market, and check that out on the digital side on fox5dc.com.
Chad Ricardo, thanks for your time, my man. You were fantastic.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you.
Christian, I'm out.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices.
Like your text to emoji ratio.
Oh man, the selfies. Selfie, nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's split a ride home.
Focus up. I'm talking to you, Sub 60 Ed. You know who you are. The man behind the man behind the man that does so much for everyone. Really appreciate everything you're doing, my man. All right, welcome back to the episode 30 of the Rubio Method. Yes, episode 30. You guys are doing a great job of emailing questions into Rubio at therubiomethod.com. Also subscribing and sharing on YouTube, Spotify, Google, Amazon, Apple, and of course, ngbn.tv. Right now, it's our final segment today. It is the bottom line. The bottom line is all the stuff you should have learned without even realizing you learned it. Number one, use your fingers and count your way to success. Remember, Monaghan gave you 5 ways to help out your mental health. Remember, one of them was journaling, where he writes bad things about me and good. You do not have to use that one. Remember the 5 ways to help your mental attitude. Number 2, you never know who is watching you and who you are impacting. This goes right back to what Chad Ricardo was talking about with his son. Later in life, he's going to look back and say, hey, Kobe, you helped me out more than I ever helped you out. And Kobe's going to say, Dad, you probably helped me out a little bit more, but it's going to be a good fight, a great fight to have. So number 2, you never know who is watching you and who you are impacting. And last but not least, number 3, sometimes it is okay to just let it all out. When Chad Ricardo was on social media and he gave out his little rant about, hey, I'm in a struggle right now. I'm having a tough time. You would not believe how many people came to his aid on those social media posts. Says, bro, it's okay. We're all going through it. Let me help you out. Sometimes it is okay just to let it all out and let other people pick you up. All right. That's episode 30 of the Rubio Method. Once again, thanks for sharing it on all podcast platforms. I like YouTube the best because you get to see Monaghan's expressions. Christian, I'm out.